Trump seems to believe that the US was relatively wealthier before we had an income tax because we relied only on tariffs. Set aside the complete mangling of the English language that we heard there. Unpack the nonsense. The 1870 to 1913 era that Trump romanticizes was a time of extraordinary wealth inequality, violent labor crackdowns, and zero social safety net. Sure, the country was growing, but mostly for the robber baron types. Tariffs were regressive. They hurt working class Americans by raising the price of everyday goods, and they spared the rich from contributing to government revenue more in proportion to their ability to do so. The 16th Amendment was passed in 1913, and it allowed the federal government to start collecting income taxes at a federal level. This was a progressive reform. The idea was shift the burden away from poor consumers and onto the wealthy and corporations. And we've talked about this before. If you make 40 grand a year versus 400 grand a year, and all of a sudden groceries go up 15%, that is much more impactful to the person making 40 grand a year rather than 400. The idea of the income tax was, let's reverse that. Let's move in the direction of unburdening some of those lower earners. So when Donald Trump praises the period, he's not glorifying a period of economic strength. He's glorifying a time when the government funded itself by taxing poor people relatively more for socks and flour and farm tools, and letting the tycoons hoard untaxed millions or even more in today's dollars. But the kicker is that Trump isn't even proposing replacing the income tax with tariffs. He's going to give us both. Now, during the campaign, he once said we might be able to get rid of the income tax if we did tariffs. Of course, it's never going to happen. Now he's saying we might be able to reduce taxes by doing the tariffs. Trump is giving us both taxes and tariffs. You're going to be taxed on your paycheck, and you're going to be taxed with an import tax called a tariff every time you buy something partially or totally made abroad. So the romanticization of this era is a combination of Trump not understanding what was actually going on at that time, combined with maybe understanding a little bit and how it was disproportionately good for the billionaire robber barons.